Welcome back, everyone. This is part 5 of our multiple part series on how to write a fantasy story. Please subscribe, like, and comment below. Hit the notification bell to know when I release new content. Every story takes place somewhere, but a well-built world does more than provide a backdrop. The world shapes the people who live in it. Mountains influence where kingdoms rise. Rivers determine where towns grow. Harsh climates change what people eat, wear, build, and believe. Borders create rivalries, trade creates wealth. Old wars leave scars that can still affect characters generations later. Even the smallest details can change the direction of a story. A town built beside a river will develop differently from one hidden in the mountains. A people surrounded by hostile neighbors may value strength and loyalty, while an isolated island culture may see outsiders as strange or dangerous. A capital placed at the center of its several trade routes may become very wealthy, crowded, and politically powerful. World building also helps make a story feel consistent. When the geography, cultures, names, and history connect with one another, the setting begins to feel like a place that existed before the story started and will continue after it ends. Characters no longer feel as though they are moving across an empty stage. They become part of a larger world with its own customs, conflicts, and memories. That does not mean every detail needs to be planned in advance. In fact, sometimes the best ideas appear when we stop trying to control every decision.
Hell yes!
So today I'm going to build a fantasy world using random choices. I have no finished map, no established kingdoms, and no carefully planned history. We're going to create the setting one decision at a time. We will choose the name of the world, create several peoples and cultures, name its towns and rivers, and then use those choices to shape the map. Some of the names will be familiar, others will be original names created specifically for this exercise. A few choices may fit together immediately, while others may force us to invent an explanation. And that is part of the fun, because world building is not only about making places, it is about discovering the stories those places make possible. Let's begin with the world itself. A world name needs to sound large enough to contain many different cultures, lands, and stories. So I have chosen Avarith, Althrindel, Valerak, Marathun, Koraveth, and Ithravane. We will roll a 6-sided dice. And that's a 5. Rolling on the ground is always smart. So that is Koraveth. That single choice gives us a starting point. The name may even influence the direction of our setting. A harsher name might suggest a severe, war-torn world, while a softer name may lead us towards something older, stranger, more mythical. Now that the world has a name, Koraveth, we can begin deciding what lies within it. So before choosing towns, we need to know what kind of lands exist on our map. I'm going to roll a 6-sided dice to see how many regions we'll have in our world. These are going to be major regions, not smaller regions that may encompass part of the major region. So 6-sided dice and 6. So we're going to have 6 major regions. All right. So now we are going to try to choose those 6 major regions. I have a list of 8 using an 8-sided dice. Any repeated numbers, I'll just re-roll in case that choice is already chosen. So the first choice is a fertile central kingdom crossed by rivers. The second is a northern mountain range covered in snow. The third is a western forest believed to be haunted. The fourth, an eastern desert containing buried cities. A fifth, a southern chain of volcanic islands, a vast inland sea surrounded by rival nations, a mist-covered marshland filled with ancient stone roads, and a windswept grassland ruled by traveling clans. So we're going to make choices. Number 1, so a fertile central kingdom crossed by rivers. 2, a northern mountain range covered in snow. 7. A mist-covered marshland filled with ancient stone roads. 4. An eastern desert containing buried cities. Already have that. We're going to re-roll. 6. A vast inland sea surrounded by rival nations. And 3. A western forest believed to be haunted. These regions will determine where the peoples live and how the map is actually going to develop. Now, I've already chosen the capital city in our major kingdom to be Sharoon, and Drathic's origin being in a town called Denaur, within the rule of Sharoon. Well, we know that Vargenbrook is already a house within this kingdom, so just in a few chapter reads, we've already built part of the world already. When it comes to creating the people of this world, I believe they should help shape the narrative through their interactions with their characters. I do not want to predetermine their motives, alliances, or histories before we know where the story will lead. We will develop their cultures, identities, and names later. For now, we only need to give them a city on the map we are building. Now this is how we're going to build our map. In my Twin Moons of Elder Dune series, I have a massive elaborate map divided into 4 quadrants. It is packed with cities, cultures, landmarks, borders, and enough history to make a cartographer win a prize in National Geographic. This map is going to be a little more selective.
That's too much information.
We will include the major cities, a few important secondary locations, and anything else the story genuinely needs. What we will not do is cram every village, abandoned mill, suspicious cave, and tavern visited during a 3-page side quest onto the map. Sometimes the book may simply tell us that a place lies east of one city or northwest of another. This is usually enough to give the reader a sense of where it belongs without awarding every minor destination permanent valuable real estate in the front of the book. A map should make the world feel larger and easier to understand. It should not look like someone spilled a box of labels across the page. So I drew these basic shapes on a whiteboard, then had AI add some more corners and shapes to the continents. We will randomly choose the continent for our world with a 6-sided dice. Okay. Now, because we have multiple regions, I've drawn a few extra ones separated by oceans and seas. So the dice roll was a 4. That will be the basic shape of our map to populate. That is the beginning of our new fantasy world, and this is going to end part 5. As we move into part 6, we will get into filling in the map and make it look like a real place where people live and thrive. And now I'll leave you with a quote from J.D. Salinger. What really knocks me out is a book that, when you're all done reading it, you wish the author that wrote it was a terrific friend of yours, and you could call him up on the phone whenever you felt like it. That doesn't happen much, though. See you in part 6 as we add a visual perspective to the world. Thanks for watching.